to BookMob episode 40. Today I'm going to be talking about Jack Carr's new Reese novel, Red Sky Mourning. And before I go on, I just want to sort of administrative point. I've noticed a lot in the reviews, people are writing mourning as in M-O-R-N-I-G instead of M-O-U-R-N-I-G. Anyway, that's just a technicality that I always thought I would talk about. Thanks for coming, Jack.
What's happening? So good to be here.
Anyway, so this is the seventh novel in the James Reese novels, ex-former SEAL who goes troppo and gets into full-on revenge mode against the very government that sent him to fight as a Navy SEAL in Afghanistan. Now we're 7 books on, and the character has not evolved so much as he's like a 007 character in the sense that he commits himself to impossible missions with real deadly bad guys who are out to destroy the world. So it's a familiar milieu of ideas that the lone sort of soldier, the lone wolf, who goes out and protects the rest of us. Now, I guess when I'm thinking of Jack Carr, he is a former military officer. He was a Navy SEAL. He served in Iraq as an officer, Navy officer, and I'm sure he did a lot of hands-on work in order to get the job done. He's not Tom Clancy, he's not Ian Fleming. In a sense, he is a construct of all the political division that he seems to be revealing itself in American politics. The divide between, I guess you could say the divide between Democrats and Republicans, but it goes deeper than that. It's more about patriotic Americans who have signed up voluntarily to serve their military in wars that are generally, or all the time, other than, I guess, Second World War when Pearl Harbor was born, there are always foreign wars, to fight foreign wars where those soldiers are merely following orders of their leaders. And it seems in the last almost 25 years that the governments that have been sending troops to fight foreign wars from Korea, Vietnam, Grenada, Iraq, Afghanistan, it's very hard for individuals, once they discover that their role as soldiers has been kind of subverted as more as enforcers of certain higher echelon people who are trying or attempting to control various political and financial and resource factors around the world. Well, in Jack Carr's 7th book, nothing has changed really. The internal workings of a government that is self-driven by a few elites that want to take over and be in control non-stop. There is no democracy, there is no law of order, unless the order and the law comes from above. And James Reese, again, in the 7th book, is again fighting not just foreign enemies, but enemies within his own state. And when I found out about Jack Carr, I mean, the guy is a former combat SEAL who's, done some real shit. So I wanted to find out from the reviews, from the interviews that he's taken, as to how he ended up where he was. I mean, is it all fate for him? Is it fate Jack, is this about you meeting your fate?
I thought about it. I thought about it my whole life. My dad gave me a book a long time ago when I was a kid called The Bridge in San Luis Rey. And it's about these people that are on this bridge. It collapses. And it's in Central South America somewhere. And they all die. And the story is about why are these people, let's say there's 7, there might be more or less, but regardless, about that number, a group of people, why were they on that bridge at that time when it collapsed? And it's just an interesting thing to think about. And I thought about it again in Iraq back in really 2005, 2006 time frame, because anything could have been an IED. And you're going down the road, you're heading to a target, you're doing a convoy, whatever you're doing. And anything, a dead donkey on the side of the road, trash, whatever, just a disrupted piece of dirt, whatever, anything could be an IED back then. So we got there and I thought, you know what, I can either be worried about that sort of thing, or I can just accept the fate part of it and do my job at that time as an officer, and do my job as the best leader and operator I can possibly be, and focus on the mission and focus on the guys, and crush this thing. And that's where my focus needs to be.
Okay. Thanks for that. Anyway, the book is worth reading because it's fun, it's entertaining, and it's glamorizing the lone wolf mentality that we all have. If you think about it, he's a man who's been deceived. He is a man who's been hurt. He's a man who has been taken for granted. But no one knows, who they're dealing with, because James Reese is, in a sense, a superhero, because the amount of things that he does, the amount of people that he kills, the methods which he uses to torture and kill the enemies in order to find out what the hell's going on in a particular book, is not based in reality. And I think that if you think about Jack Carr's own experience, I would say to him, Jack, where do you get this idea of one man, and how do you, more importantly, this one man, how do you get the one man to fight entire countries? What is that? Where do you pull your resources from? Where does your ideas come from? Tell us, let us know. Come on.
Until I started to write those first words, how personal it was going to be. And it became a very personal writing experience. Initially, I thought, I'll get the sniper stuff right. If I don't know something about an aircraft or a submarine, I can call somebody, and I'll at least I know people to reach out to who connects me with someone who spent time in the submarine force or in an aircraft I need to write about or something like that. But I didn't know how personal it was going to be from a feeling and emotion standpoint. So if when my character gets ambushed somewhere, I can remember what it was like in Baghdad 2006 to actually get ambushed, and then I can take those and apply them right here to this fictional narrative. So it's a fictional story. James Reese in the first book gets ambushed on the streets of LA by this assassin guy, but I can remember what it felt like to be on the receiving end, and then those feelings and emotions go directly on the page. So I don't have to find a sniper from, let's say, Ramadi at the height of the war and interview him, and then have those answers get filtered through movies I've seen, other interviews I've done, documentaries, other books, whatever it might be, and then fictionalize it and put it on the page. It goes all heart and soul right in here. So it was very personal, much more personal, and it's remained that way. Even though this is the 7th book, it's still just as powerful when I'm writing it and I'm feeling it as it was for that first one.
Oh, okay, yeah, kind of. I guess that kind of helps the situation for us, that your own personal experience has been transplanted into fiction, and that fiction is not reality. No matter what people think, there is no way to transfer the reality of killing and fighting and shooting and being in firefights into books. So when you write a book like Red Sky Morning, you've got to understand it's fantasy, it's entertainment, and it's got nothing to do with reality. But from the reviews I've seen, people are just seem to lose their sense of logic, or seem that, there's a lot of anti-Jack Carr, James Reese propaganda, because of, he's supposedly right-wing, because he loves guns and he loves his country. And I just think, come on, relax. It's just a book. It's a book no different in essence from James Bond books, from Ian Fleming's books, from Tom Clancy's books. There's books about individuals who are standing up to democratic people or democratic states who are really trying to be totalitarian. And in the event that American politicians are portrayed in these books as evil and corrupt and eager to make the best for themselves, regardless of the collateral damage, there is some truth in that, I suppose. There is some. Jack Carr must have had some knowledge of his role in Afghanistan and Iraq. I think I'm not sure if 100% he served in Iraq, of how useless these fucking wars were. But at the end of the day, he served his country. He spent, I think, over 2 decades in the military, and then he decided to get out and become an author. And so the 7th book in the James Reese series is entertaining, is worth reading. And I always wonder, where did that come from, Jack? Where did you get the sense that you could be a writer, even though you were a military man through and through?
So I read my whole life. So I got to read all these guys: David Morrell, Nelson DeMille, A.J. Quinnell, J.C. Pollock, Mark Golden, Tom Clancy, Ian Fleming, Jean Le Carré. All these guys were the masters, were my professors in the art of storytelling from a very early age. So certainly by 6th grade. 5th grade was when Hunt for Red October came out, which is why I have a submarine section in the beginning of this as a nod to the 40th anniversary of the Hunt for Red October, for Tom Clancy and everything he did for the genre. But I just absolutely love it. But I had that foundation, and I had that foundation from an early age. So it wasn't at age 40 when I thought, oh, maybe I should be, if I'm going to be a writer, what should I have been reading? Or what can I read that?
Yeah, and it's like special, isn't it?
Because I loved the magic in those pages, not because I was like, oh, I'm going to learn this in 6th grade so that then 30 years later I can use it. No, it was just I loved the magic in the pages of all those novels, and it just became a part of me, a part of my being, a part of this foundation that I can now build on. And so I don't think I could have prepared myself any better to be a SEAL or to do what I'm doing now as an author, because reading is really the foundation of all of it.
Yeah, I agree. It is magic. Books, words, literature are magic. And I highly recommend Red Sky Morning by Jack Carr. It's a totally easy read. It's fun, but divorce yourself from trying to put too much emphasis on politics and social commentary. You got to abandon the idea that it means anything other. It's a total fantasy. It is an utter and total fantasy that one man can do so much. And this is the joy of literature, is that you can make the one man, the one soldier, the lone soldier, become the hero of the universe, basically. So I think that I'm looking forward to the next James Reese novel as a form of entertainment and joy and pleasure in reading. And hopefully those of you who are not in tune or don't desire to read such books like this might take I don't think you need to read James Reese 1 through 6 before you read James Reese Volume 7. Because the stories are pretty much the same. It's a pattern of horrible, evil people doing nasty things, then recovering from that, and then James Reese getting hold of the information, and then James Reese going through the turmoil of getting to resolve the actual issue. And then there's the the constant issue is revenge. Killing people who have harmed you, harmed your family, harmed people you know. And that is the catalyst for almost every mission that James Reese goes on. So revenge is a big factor in this book. Just like Charles Bronson's Death Wish films that seemed, that people just were attracted to because of the revenge. We all feel hopeless and useless. And when our myths are televised or written in books, it feels good. But just go with that. That's all you need to do. Just enjoy the book, put it away, and then move on. There's no need to write fucking 500-page treats on how this is a right-wing fantasy. It's a book, and I hope you take the time to read it, because it is a good, fun, entertaining read, and totally worth the time you take to read it. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and at the moment I'm reading The Perfect Day by Ira Levin, and this bloke wrote Rosemary's Baby, amongst other things. But this is a great book about a dystopian society, and the idea that is there any point to living a dystopian tiny society? Because at the end of the day, if you are blinded by the terrors of real life and live a life through drugs that just makes your life feel good, I mean, is that so bad? Well, that's something we can talk about. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode of BookMob soon. Bye.